Hello, this is Babam. We're playing minetest today with a mod that I made called cellular automata. You can see that it is active. You can get it from the mod store here. I also have world edit enabled. So we have creative mode. Let's play game. We are already flying. You can see some of our work from the last videos there. Today we're going to play around with 3D cellular automata. This is still kind of experimental. Large 3D cellular automata will basically bog down minetest and crash it. So you don't want to go too many generations. We will start with 10. Although playing with that number is fun because each iteration of these automata are very unique. We can pause the patterns as they grow, but another thing I like to do to see each successive generation is use a little Easter egg called rainbow trail mode. If you do all caps rainbow in the trail block field, you will see we have to be in 3D. 3D, unlike 1D and 2D, doesn't have these growth and calculation axis options because they grow in all directions. So there is no point telling it which direction to grow. So we do have more options for neighbors. We have our 6 facing neighbors. We have 18 edge neighbors, and we have 26 including all corner neighbors. So we're going to do, let's see here. We're going to do 18 neighbor. We're going to do 0, 3, 5 slash, let's see, 138. 1, 3, 8. And we are going to let this grow for 10 generations. It's important to note in the rules for 3D automata, because we have neighbors that go beyond 9 digits, you have to use commas to separate the numbers. So 2D, you see we are free to just put the numbers in without commas because that's the tradition. 3D, we're going to do commas. When you're doing 3D automata, you want destructive mode on when you're leaving a trail, because otherwise the trail will interfere with the internal growth of the cell, of the cells of the pattern. Now, like 2D automata, starting a single cell from a given rule set doesn't always grow. It may just die. However, if you have some 1s and 2s in there, you will get growth. I hit single cell. You can see that we get very unique symmetrical patterns. I don't know if that might be a dodecagon. I don't know. It's not. It's not a dodecagon, but it's a very unique shape. You can see the rainbow trail is leaving wool behind. There is still growth happening inside, as you can see if we pass through it. And that is the limit for our growth. We can make it grow bigger, as usual, by hitting manage and adding generations. We'll add 10 more generations, and then we'll double click our pattern and hit escape. And watch it continue to grow. This is kind of the fun part of this mod, is just watching these 3D patterns grow. Oh, we have some asymmetry happening here. This, like I said, the 3D mode is experimental. It sometimes we are finding asymmetry being introduced. I'm trying to work out why that's happening, and it is indeed happening here. You can see this corner is deformed. Nevertheless, you get the idea. If you like it at a certain point, you can single click to pause the pattern, look at it, take pictures of it, leave it. We can resume by double clicking. But like I said, these patterns get very large. You can see how many cells. There's already 15,000 cells in this pattern, and it's only at generation 19. So there's our final pattern floating in the sky, and it's finished at 20 generations. So if you want to see some more of these 3D automata, we can simply change the neighbors to 26. We'll fly away here. Start another one from a single cell, see if it grows. It does indeed grow. 26 neighbors makes more cube-shaped patterns. So we can watch this grow. Looking for asymmetry. If you find asymmetry, take a picture of it and submit it to the issue for this asymmetry issue that we have on GitHub. But it happens rarely. You can see this time it did not happen. We have symmetry in all directions. We can make this grow a little longer. By double clicking on it and hitting escape. The nice thing about rainbow mode is you can see previous trail blocks. Like you can see each generation as a different color, which is a nice way to look at these things if you're not just going to leave them as air. And you can see it growing. Very unique patterns and shapes that you wouldn't really be able to create otherwise. And it's impossible to predict what the next generation is going to look like. There's our final pattern in wool. And you can fly into it and see the structure. We'll do one more. We'll do one. We'll leave the trail off in this case. What's a good one? There's again, you don't know what's going to grow and what's not going to grow. Start it from a single cell. No, that one did not grow. let's try something a little different. That grows. Okay, so we needed some 1s and 2s in there. In this case, you cannot see a trail, so you can see inside a little bit better each generation. That's a very sparse one. Thickens up again. And it disappeared. Why did it disappear? Oh, I didn't set a trail. I didn't set a final block. Default stone. Now we'll change it a little bit. Let's put in we'll put in let's put a 4 in here and see what happens. You have to back up right away when you're doing these 3D automata, and you have to have no clip turned on. That's H, because otherwise you will get trapped inside them pretty quickly. Whoa. That is our final block. Now you can do the same thing. Since it's hard to start some of these from single cells, you can do the same thing as we've done with 2D automata, which is set a world edit position. We'll try to make a little cube of starter blocks here. We can do a mix of air and automata inactive. Own cells to own these cells so that we can activate them, and we will reset the region to get rid of that. So you can see we've got a random block of starter cells now. Now we can take away some of these 1s and it should still grow. 1s and 2s. And we can see we can activate them and see what happens. Since it's random, we shouldn't expect symmetry. This will be kind of a blob. Ten generations we had set. Should be finished soon. How many cells are in this? Oh, it crashed. I am having a problem with the Manage tab. Sometimes is crashing. But that's fine. All we have to do is go back into the game. However, now that we're back in the game, these cells are not active and they're not inactive. They're just there. And if you try to resume your pattern, you'll see that you have no active patterns. So I'm working on that bug. I'm not sure what's causing it. It's hard to reproduce, so it's hard to track down what's going on there. But for fun, we can set a world edit region. And we can try replacing the active cells with inactive cells. Because there's so many nodes in there, 64,554 nodes, we have to type yes / y, and it's done it. And then we have to own cells. Yes, oops, no, we own the cells, sorry. We can say reset, and we, in a way, we can now resume this pattern because our settings are saved to files. So we'll just do 3 more generations since it is just a blob, and we can activate those. So there we are, basically back to where we were using that process. You can use that process to do other things too, like you could take a tree and turn it into inactive cells and then own the cells and then see what happens when you do a tree or a mountaintop or whatever. That's just world edit commands. So there's our final pattern, kind of a Death Star blob. I think that's about all I wanted to show you. Do expect the occasional crash when you hit the Manage tab. I'm working on that. And from here on out, my videos will just be showcasing interesting, cool patterns and things you can do with your patterns that are cool, like turning them into buildings and other objects like that. And that's 3D automata, as I said, kind of experimental, and but pretty cool to look at. I'm Babam. Thanks for watching.